Hello everybody. As you can probably tell, I'm kind of in a tight spot this week, so I'm gonna have to start cutting production costs to keep my water and heating from being shut off again. In an effort to do this, I've already sold my Mountain Dew shirts for a more economical choice. A white t-shirt I found in the trash and then drew the words Mountain Dew on. I've also decided to review something on the cheaper end. A single can of off-brand whole kernel corn. But somehow it still wiped out my entire food budget. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. Why are you reviewing whole canned kernel corn when there are so many varieties of canned corns to discover? There's baby corn, white corn, cream corn, roasted corn, and probably several others that I don't care to remember right now. Well, other than the obvious reason that this is just the first thing I saw when stealing food from the food drive bin, the whole kernel corn is the most basic of corns. And being cans mean that I don't have to boil it myself or worry about getting husk bits in my teeth. I also didn't want any specially prepared corn because I wanted something that embodies the pure essence of corn in its entirety. And finally, I didn't get creamed corn or baby corn because I am neither 80 years old or a pedophile. Sorry if that was a little corny. This specific can of corn contains about 2 whole cups of corn and water totaling 280 calories, half your daily value of sodium, a teaspoon of sugar, and 2 grams of protein. That means if you ate nothing but this corn all day, you would be eating 3.5 times your recommended sodium intake. And if for some reason you ate 100 cans of the corn all at once, you would probably die of salt poisoning before you died of corn poisoning. For comparison, you would normally have to eat about 400 bananas to kill yourself, or drink 23 jars of Prego brand traditional spaghetti sauce. But other than that, there are no preservatives or anything in it, just corn, water, sugar, and salt. And also, on a side note, here's a fun fact: nobody likes corn. That's right, despite being the largest grown cash crop in the entire world, most of it goes into making fuel additives or feeding animals. Which, now that I think about it, actually kind of makes sense. It's the only food that I can afford. And everything else about it is pretty messed up too, actually. It's one of the fake vegetables like tomatoes and potatoes. It has so little nutritional value that even the livestock that are force-fed it become sickly. It's the only crop that's more GMO than soybeans, and corn cobs have hair, so it's basically a mammal. But that's enough hating on corn for now. I mean, I have to give it a fair shot. I haven't even tried it yet. So now is the time you've been preparing for. Let's prepare the corn. Now, when preparing kernel corn in the can, it's important to buy the kind with a tab on the top, since you sold all of your can openers for liquor money. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the tab off with one hand. And it's important not to cut yourself. And then you're just gonna take it and set it on the burner since you sold all your bowls. Now, when doing this, it's important to keep a close eye on it so it doesn't catch on fire, because this is actually really dangerous. I mean, but it is kind of boring, so we'll just be back in a couple minutes. All right, now that my weekly meal is ready, let's move on to the main event, putting the stuff into my taste hole. The smell coming from it is very sweet, but also kind of meaty like a potato. Other than tasting a little burnt since I accidentally caught it on fire, it has a nice crunch to it even though it's probably been in this can for several months. The taste is kind of what you expect though, I mean, unless you haven't eaten corn before. It's buttery and filling, but maybe even too filling since it's giving me the same feeling of being bloated that some fast food does. The problem with corn though is that it just loses out to canned peas when put in a vegetable dish competition because they fit the same exact role of being the thing you put in your mashed potatoes on your steak plate. But then corn and potatoes are both grains and even taste similar. However, if you were poor, a weirdo, or in my case, both, then you could always eat canned corn as a meal by itself, which I would personally recommend when opposed to eating other canned vegetables as just meals.